Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today I would like to discuss Dawn of War 3. Yes, I know. Every YouTuber and their mother and their cat has discussed this in some way or another, but I'd like to go on a different route. Firstly, I just want to point out that this video will not have any footage or any pictures changing, so you can have this on the background if you so wish. Secondly, it goes without saying, this video is going to have a few spoilers for the game. So without further ado, let's begin. When Dawn of War 3 was announced, everyone kinda lost their mind, myself included. We were expecting a return to an RTS, which, let's face it, not a lot of developers are making RTS games lately, or good ones at that. But as time went on, and footage of the game was released to the public, we started to notice, as fans, that this was not going to be the case. Instead, the game looked more like a MOBA, which it kinda turned into one. A lot of the 40k fanbase, the Dawn of War fanbase and so on, bashed the game. They didn't buy it, and I will be honest, I didn't too. I did not want a MOBA, I'm not a fan of MOBAs. But nonetheless, I still kept an eye open, seeing what the community posted, seeing what the developers posted, and so on. And I found it quite interesting on how people were so quick to bash the game, rather than just play it. I know a few people who completely bashed the game without even giving it a shot. I myself kept quiet because, well, I hadn't played it, wasn't really interested in it. Why should I badmouth something which I'm not even going to try? But eventually, a Steam sale hit, and the game was quite cheap, so I figured, you know what, it's piqued my curiosity. I'd like to see the story behind it. Why not? Now I'll have you know that I only purchased this game very recently. Just about the time that Relic confirmed that they are going to stop development on Dawn of War. Or supposedly confirmed, I'm still not too sure with the matter here. A lot of people have been posting, I've seen a few videos, it just seems like a lot of salt. But I decided to purchase the game anyway. And you know what? I actually had fun. I understand people didn't like the MOBA aspect of the game, but there was still a bit of an RTS element to it. People seem to quickly bash this game, yet, well, let's be honest, it wasn't that much different from Dawn of War 2 and its expansions, was it? And before people start screaming heresy, let's face it, the second game was a MOBA. Look, you can't spin it any way around. It had no base building. It was pretty much just micromanaging. It was a MOBA. The community was bashing the third game, even though it was just pretty much a successor to the second. Yet people didn't really bash the second game and its expansions as much as the third. And that's what I don't understand. Yes, it wasn't an RTS, but technically neither was the second. And rather than people bashing the game, and I'm not just meaning the players, I'm also meaning the ones who didn't buy it and still bashed it out of some sort of principle. They could have emailed in. They could have worked with the company, the developers. Look how Dawn of War 1 changed in its 4 expansions. It became from a RTS in a standard sense, with just the missions progressively moving. Then you had to start conquering territories, and on the final one, you conquered planets. See how the game evolved? There was a possibility that that could have happened with this game. See how the second one changed? Rather than playing one race, eventually you got to play a few different ones. Sadly, you had pretty much the same story, but it did change. Who knows how Dawn of War 3 could have evolved with future expansions? But ranting aside, let's have a look at the game. Honestly, barring the MOBA style gameplay, it was pretty good. Fine, you didn't have that many buildings to build, so you had to kinda work on very small bases, because very few buildings built everything you needed. You didn't have that many different types of troops. Some of them were more viable than the others, but that's how it usually works. But all in all, it fused the aspects of an RTS and a MOBA. Fine, people didn't want that, but that's what the developers wanted to create. End of the day, they're the ones who make it. We're the ones who just play it. I played throughout the whole of the campaign, and to be honest, it was alright. Fine, there's a few issues with the lore and so on, like Gabriel Angelos being able to do like somersaults with his Terminator armor, but, you know, some things get stretched out for games. That being said, the story was quite fun. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the fact that you got to see some returning characters. Gorguts became a lot smarter, which honestly makes sense, but it threw me off. Story-wise itself, it was pretty interesting. You know, the Blood Ravens following orders to a certain degree. Gorguts joining up with a different war and then betraying them and taking over. That was pretty fun, to be honest, and it's very much like Gorguts. And then finally, the Farseer and her rebellion. Sure, there could have been a bit more. It was, what, a few missions worth, to be honest, nothing too big. But mind you, I found it entertaining. Fine, yeah, once again, a mobber. And I'm going to keep referring to this because people don't seem to like mobbers. But honestly, it was fine. There was fun gameplay. I did find myself in certain missions having to build multiple bases, launching attacks from various areas, and trying to defend certain points. To be honest, I actually felt like I had to think. And isn't that what we all want from a Dawn of War game? Or just a 40k game in general? Something that makes you think, like you would have to in the tabletop. It's just pretty much that. I found that in this game. Fine, I didn't play in the most hardest difficulty, but that was because I wanted to go and see the story. I'm more invested in the story than I am in the actual gameplay at this point. Regardless of that, I really do hope that expansions do come out in the future. You never know how the gameplay will change, and you never know what can happen. Especially given the story where there was a bit of a cliffhanger on how everything would work. You know? Obviously this is a spoiler, but once you kill the demon at the end, you don't know how many Blood Ravens survived. You don't know how destroyed the chapter is. Or if they'll face any troubles with the Inquisition, given that Gabriel, once again, did defy quite a few orders. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of the video. I really do hope they continue with Dawn of War, and this hasn't killed it. I understand how a community can be a little bit toxic sometimes, but I really hope, I really hope that this is not the end of Dawn of War, despite what many people are wishing for. Time will tell, I guess. But with that, thank you so much for listening, and I shall see you all again very soon.